sorry for the little delay in production for today, and this is due to some technical issues, and we have restored it. So sorry about it. This is Business and Economy, where we make analysis of economic policies across the globe, particularly that of Nigeria, and the impact this may have on the general economy. I am ILE EMEJE. In line with the economic downturn across nations of the world, including Nigeria and their country, some citizens are calling on the government to prioritize people-friendly economic policies that can stimulate productive activities across the country. According to them, enhanced productive activities through the micro, small and medium-sized enterprises is the way to stimulating the economy in the face of this economic quagmire. Today on the program, economic analyst Mr. Olakpade, who is also a regular guest on this program, is my guest and will be joining us after the business news to look at the state of the nation between January 2024 and June 2024 with a focus on the development of the micro, small and medium-sized enterprises as the engine room of any nation, including our country, Nigeria. We'll be back shortly. Signing the Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) with ILE Limited in Abuja, Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria Export Promotion Council (NEPC), Mrs. Nonye Ayeni, assured of the Council's support towards the implementation of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration for job creation and poverty alleviation.
I see this collaboration will lead to job creation, which is one of the anchor points of His Excellency President Bola Tinubu. Job creation, poverty alleviation. We saw a retiree speak to us. He said, when I left, this provided me succor. He said, we also saw another person that said, at least I can take care of myself and take care of my people around me. That's poverty alleviation. That's job creation. That's taking the youth out of the street, and which aligns with the President's renewed agenda and our Honorable Minister's passion of industrialization. So we will work with you, we'll collaborate with you, and by the grace of God, this will be a huge success. Thank you.
Mrs. Ayeni further urged for more partnership while reiterating transformation.
We work with you to also open you to market access. You know, the good thing about some of our products, when you take it, people, because of the colors, the decoration, people look at it, it's something that we expect that we'll see in Europe, in America, in Asia, across the globe.
In her goodwill message, the founder and chief executive officer of ILE Limited, Mrs. Chinwe Ezenwa, pointed out that the partnership is capable of boosting the non-oil sector.
The scorecard government has been looking for, they should look no further. NEPC has all what we will continue to partner with you. We will do over and above the call of duty to ensure that Nigeria becomes the production hub of bags in West Africa and in Africa as a whole.
According to them, skills acquisition is imperative not only for the retirees, but for all to enjoy the benefits thereof. ILE EMEJE, ASO Television News. Glad to have you join us on your regular program, Business and Economy, and our guest, an economic analyst, Mr. Olakpade, is already seated with me in our studio, and you'll be taking a look at the growth and development of the MSMEs as an engine room of any nation, including that of our dear country, Nigeria. Mr. Olakpade, you're welcome to the program.
It's always my pleasure to be here.
All right, let's begin with the state of the economy, Nigeria economy as of today, between January 2024 and June 2024. You know that we have crossed the first half of the year 2024. So what is the general state of the economy as of today?
Let's just look at the indicators if you just want to look at it. I think the most challenging has been the inflation rate. The inflation rate at above 30, 32, 33%. Food inflation at above 40%, 43, 42%. So it has been very challenging. And we know that that has been due to the policy that was implemented last year, majorly due to deregulation, removal of subsidy, and flotation of naira. So we are battling with 30 above 30% inflation. So, and you don't know, and you should understand that to be able to curtail the inflation, and also to be able to bring down the exchange rate that has gone out of the roof. So the CBN had to increase their MPI. They have to increase their interest rate. So when they increase their interest, the interest rate as of today, from even the CBN is almost 30% from CBN. So the least you can get for interest rate anywhere, whether commercial bank or anywhere you go, the least you can get is 30%, except for some government intervention. So at 30%, what do you want to sell? What do you want to sell when the interest rate is 30%? What business do you want to do with that? Even microfinance is as high as 6% per month. Yes, interest rate, microfinance.
On a monthly basis?
Yes, on a monthly basis, 6%. Yes, so 6% per month. So I'm in the know of it. So this one is not guesswork. I'm in the know of it. See, microfinance 6% per month. So in a year, that's talking about 72% interest rate in a year. So if you take 1 million, every month you are paying 60,000 for interest. So in a year, so you're going to pay like 720,000 back. So you take 1 million. If you take it for 1 year, you are paying back 1,722,000. So what do you want to?
Half of the money that.
Yes, for interest. Yes. So what do you want to do with that? So that has made it the economy very, very tough, very, very tough. Because the solution to the CBN was just trying to use monetary policies to address the issue of inflation, but it's not responding. If you look at it, we've been hiking interest rates since the beginning of the year, and the inflation is not responding to it. Now, what we need to do is just structural adjustment. We need a fiscal side to do a lot of work on the fiscal side to adjust and look at the root. There are three types of inflation, and you need to be able to understand the cause of the inflation before you prescribe. We have the cost push inflation.
Demand pull.
You have the demand pull inflation. So we have the imported inflation. And the one we are fighting today is not because of demand. It's not a demand pull inflation. Where we are is a cost push inflation, because it's the cost of production that has gone out of the roof. So government need to do a lot of structural adjustment. I'm looking at the 2 trillion the stabilization fund, 2 trillion
that was just
on last Thursday, that was released by the president, and I'm still studying it. I'm still going into it. Let's see, maybe that I'm seeing a lot of interventions. Yes, I'm seeing a lot of interventions. The government is trying to intervene in different places. Even executive, but before that, there was also one with an executive that was signed to reduce the cost of medicine and also to do some intervention housing and some things. Let's see if that interventions, if maybe they can help us with the issue of inflation.
Let's be optimistic.
Let's be optimistic. Maybe. The problem, just like I said last week, was that our problem is beyond beyond even the policies. Our problem is, do we have the framework to make this thing work? Do we have the framework to make sure this thing addresses where it should address? Do we have the framework to make sure this money, these things that we are doing, do we have the framework to make sure it gets to where it should get? That's where our problem is. Our problem is beyond just sitting at Abuja and just coming up with fine policies, but do we have the system to make it deliver? And the people that also to implement it, will they be sincere? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Because if you look at it, there's a lot of if you look at that stabilization policy program. There are a lot of intervention in power, in agriculture, in many other things, in agriculture, power, healthcare, education, transportation. It covers almost all the basics of the sectors. Yes, the real sectors of the economy are covered. So security also, you know, is driving, insecurity is driving food inflation. So government also must be ready to do a lot of work in the area of security, because if farmers cannot access their farm, if they cannot plant, if they cannot weed, if they cannot harvest, so definitely no policy that you are doing, none of them will work if the farmers can't go to their farm safely. Many people have abandoned their farms. I have friends that have invested multi-million. I have friends that have invested millions of dollars in their farms that they cannot access those farms today because of insecurity. Many, I know someone that has invested millions in the farm, which the family is begging him that, please, what you've invested is not up to your life. Leave the farm. Just come, leave it, leave the money you've invested, because the family are scared that if he goes outside of the town to go to the farm, because the farm is outside of the town, if you go there, who knows what can happen. So we have a lot of cases like that. So government needs to also look at security as we are doing all this structural adjustment to address inflation, to stabilize the economy, because inflation is the real problem. Is the real cow, is the real bull in the China shop here. So as they are trying to ease it out, they should make sure that also they have security to hit. Because if there is no security, there's nothing you can do about it. They have had their power. They are looking at increasing power generation to in the next 6 months to more than 6,000 megawatts, 6,500 megawatts, pushing it at least 6,500 megawatts. They are looking at that. So it's good, all those are good, but they must add security to it. So now, if you're also looking at the indicators, you look at our debt also, you know, due to the flotation, let's just be fair, it's not that the government has borrowed too much, especially this government that got there the last 1 year. It's not that they borrowed too much this year or within that last year, but the problem, what shot our debt up was the devaluation of the naira. Don't forget that our external debts are in dollars. So when we devalued from around 600 to 1,500, thereabout we have now. So some of those debt tripled, some of them doubled. So let me say, as of last year, our debt was around, at the beginning of this year, our debt was less than 100 trillion naira. Today we have 121 trillion naira as our debt profile, which, you know, before our defense before was that our GDP to debt is less than 50%, so there's no cause for alarm. Today we have around 52%. So it means that we have something to really worry about. If our debt now to GDP has crossed 52, and also has crossed 52%, and don't also forget, because of even the devaluation of the naira, it also affected our GDP. Our GDP came down also drastically to around 300 billion. Understand? Right from there, around 500 billion, 600 billion. So now we are around number 3 in GDP in Africa. We are around number 3 or number 4. We've come down. Yes, we've come down. Yes, because of the devaluation. You know, by the time you rebase it in current exchange rate, it's going to affect it. So now we have 52% of debt ratio, GDP to debt ratio, we have around 52%, which is not sustainable. So also now we're not talking about even the revenue to debt. How much of this our revenue are we spending on servicing this debt? And we're talking about something maybe around 80% or more than that. So we have a lot of challenges in our hands. Also now, if you look at it, also looking at ways and means, the ways and means, which means the way I mean means the CBN assisting the government borrowing from the CBN, borrowing some percentage. The law before was that CBN should only lend 5% of the previous year's revenue. But don't forget, during the previous administration, at the twilight of the previous administration, the law was adjusted to 15%, which means that if the government revenue at the previous year was let's say around 20 naira, or let's say 100 naira now, let's say 100 naira. So it means that the CBN can borrow this year CBN should only borrow 15 15 naira, 15 naira out of 100 naira out. Yes, that's 15%, 15 naira. So now also we've also overpushed that also. We've already, the base and base have also been overstretched. It has been overpushed. So we are in a tight corner. That's just what I'm trying to say. So we can't even print. We can't print more. We can't print more currency to say we want to use it to stabilize the economy. We can't print more because we've already overstretched that angle also. That's quantitative easing. So that's what they call it in economic terms. They call it quantitative easing, meaning that you're printing more money to be able to stabilize some part of the economy. But we've already overdone that because even the one that are standing has not been paid, and we've printed more also. So we are not in a very good shape. So we need all of our best hands on deck to be able to readjust and rebase our economy. So the only way we can say that at least is the stock market. The stock market has been doing, the capital market has been doing has been doing impressively well. So at least even in, let's say, an average company, if you invested, let's say, 1 million as at last year, I think today you should be able to have 2 million. Yes, you should have 100% on return. As at, let me say, as at May last year, if you invested 1 million in an average performing stock on the Nigeria Stock Exchange, you should be able to have, let's say, let me be conservative, let me say 500,000 as your profit. If you invested 1 million, you should have 500,000 as profit today in an average performance. So the stock market has been doing well, but in all other aspects of the economy, the cost of living has been out of the window. Even if you don't go to the market to buy pepper, to buy vegetable, at least you lodge in hotels, you eat. So the cost of feeding has gone up, and it has really affected the residual income of the people, the purchasing power, because most Nigerians now are spending on 90, even not 100% of their income on food, which is not the best for any economy. The best approach is that people should spend like 20% of their income on feeding. But when the people are spending up to 100% of their income on feeding, it means there is nothing or very little left to do some other things. So that's not very, very good for the economy. So that's why we're talking about government doing something about inflation. And there's a lot of intervention in agriculture, just like I was talking about the report, the stabilization program that was released on Thursday. Yes, so there's a lot of things government is saying they want to do in agriculture because it's not sustainable. That's why you can see many companies are having a tough time. The last fiscal year, you can see many multinationals, many companies relocated, and they declare loss. Those that did not, companies that have never declared loss in the country, they declare loss due to, number one, purchasing power of the people, and due to exchange rate fluctuations. So all these challenges must be looked as we are going to the second half of the year. Government must make sure that they really look into it, so that, because the GDP has been around 2%, growing at around 2%, which is not too good. It's not too good. So government must be able to make a lot of interventions. The exchange rate now is sliding. It stabilized at a point. I think it stabilized at around 1,005. So now, since last week, now is around 1,510, 1,511, something there about around 1,519. I think it got to 1,520 naira. But I think I done it as at last Friday closing time. I think it was 1,510 naira. So the exchange rate, the naira government must make sure the naira find its true value. So at that exchange rate is, what do you want to do with that exchange rate? What do you want to import? What do you want to sell? What do you want to produce? Understand? At that exchange rate. Now couple that with interest rate. Understand? What do you want to sell? Now you are approaching microfinance, you are paying 6% interest per month. That's 72% per year. What do you want to sell with it? You are talking about commercial bank. The least you can get is 30%, 35, 40. As that's 40 per annum. What do you want to sell with it? Now you add that to the exchange rate, you add that to transportation cost, you add that to, so the business atmosphere is choking. So government needs to do a lot of things. If anybody that is doing anything legitimately today in this country is crying. That's the truth. Everybody doing anything legitimately as an entrepreneur doing anything legitimate today in this country is struggling, is crying. People who have debt that they are servicing, they know what they are going through, because those debts are being readjusted for inflation. They are being readjusted as the interest rate is being readjusted. So there's a lot of how do you break even? So if this business does not break even, so how does the workers? How does the workers? How would they pay workers? So if more companies are closing down than those that are opening up, it means unemployment rate. And also, if you look at this year, so we've had a spike in unemployment rate. Yes, if you look at it, though the MBS has not been able to give us a concrete data on that, but if you study it, you will see that the unemployment rate, there's a spike in unemployment rate, which is normal if we have this kind of challenges that we are going through. So multidimensional poverty is shooting up, is increasing. Government has not been able to do anything concrete about it, despite all these promises that we see that subsidy removal, they are doing cash transfer, conditional cash transfer, and all these things. There is no proper register for that. It has been cumbersome. We don't know, nobody even knows. The last minister for humanitarian affairs was suspended due to misappropriation of funds. So since he was suspended, we don't know how far with conditional cash transfer. So we don't know how far government has gone with that, but I don't know if anybody is getting it. So even if some people are getting it, I don't think they are the real people that are getting it.
All right. Kudos to the Nigerian's capital market, just like you reiterated. I am so vast in that, and I remember that close to the end of year 2023, the market capitalization was ranging between 39 trillion naira to 43 trillion naira, but as of today, we recorded, as at the last time, we recorded about 56 trillion naira as market capitalization. And I think that the Nigerian capital market is doing
yes, that's the only place.
Be that as it may, looking at all of these issues, the problems, the insecurity, the farmers that cannot go to their farms, and the exchange rates, the flotation of the naira, and the rest of the policies, some Nigerians are calling on the government to have a rethink or to support a friendly policies for everyone, especially the MSMEs. And again, their complaint is coming on the backdrop of the fact that some Nigerians are not helping the matter. How? You will ask. If you get to the market, if you were at the market yesterday to buy a particular product for like 100 naira, the following day or the next hour as you are getting there, it may go as far as to 500 naira. So do we say it is insecurity, the flotation of the naira, and the rest of the things that are adding up to this? So they are calling for a more robust monitoring and supervision of market situation or prices.
What people must first understand is we're in a capitalist economy, a free market.
A mixed economy.
But it's more or less, on paper, it was a mixed economy, but more or less is a free market system. So whether you say it's a free market, it means that it's what I buy and sell. And I have the right to sell at, yes, I have the right to sell at any amount I want. So if you are not comfortable, you go to another place. It's a deregulated market. Like most of our market is a deregulated market. There's no government intervention.
So people can fix the price.
Yes, yes, that's what they love. That's what it means. There are only very few sectors of the Nigerian economy that is regulated, which means government can still visit. Like even the petroleum sector has been deregulated, so that's why you can buy 690. So in this Abuja now, there are different prices. There's a place you buy for 670. You go another place 680. You go another place 690.
I bought 730.
I go another place 720, 730. They were talking about normally not now that we have fuel scarcity.
We have queues.
Not that we have queue, not now. I'm talking about even before the fuel scarcity, different filling stations sell at different prices. So where the consumer protection comes in is that to make sure people get value for their money. Like I make sure my liter is okay or what I'm selling is of good quality, but they don't really come in the area of pricing.
So how do you buy to the idea or the outcry of the people saying that government should have a regulated authority on
government cannot. People don't understand the way the system works. Like this is a democracy. Now, if government wants to do that, the government has to sponsor a bill. It's a very cumbersome to this National Assembly. Or maybe I don't think an executive order. I don't think so. maybe a legal expert can help us with that. But I don't think an executive order can even come in the area of government now regulating all the market. I don't even think a presidential executive order can do that. A bill must be, I think a bill must be sponsored through national assembly, which will make it very worse. People are talking about price control system.
Yeah.
There is a difference between price control system and price fixing system. Understand? Now, what people are advocating for is a price fixing system, which is going to make us go from fire to fire.
What if there's a control?
Just wait. Let me bring it. If you say government will start fixing prices or government will start controlling prices, it means that people will now begin to hoard. Yes.
How?
People will begin to hoard. When you become desperate, they know that is a when they reduce the supply.
Yeah.
So by the time they reduce the supply of this product, by the time the demand is high, you people will even begin to cry, let us buy it another amount. Yes, we've gone through this road before. If anybody that has studied the Nigerian political economy in the 80s, in the early 80s, you will see that there was a price control system in the 80s. It didn't work. It never worked. Really? Yes, that people were queuing for sugar and queuing for salt and queuing. You know, it's not a good experience. We are not at war. Understand? Imagine that you want to buy ordinary bread because of price control and it's fixed, you have to go and queue. You understand? Imagine people queuing, maybe in the whole of this Katampe now, maybe there's only one place that is selling bread. Understand? So now imagine everybody in this Katampe going one place to go and queue for bread. Imagine how gory that site is. So what the economy is sick. It's not the people that are the problem. I was with one of my sisters this morning before I came before I came to the station. She says she deals with soft drink, and now they sent her a message from they sent her a message that the price is going to change. That what they were selling a carton for, I think was it 2,600 or so, that now is going to become 3,000. That prices of
price
hike. From the company, that prices will change. And I know they told them 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks, what they were buying before, the price will change. I was with her this morning before I came here. It was from her I came to this place, and she was telling me that, look at it, how do you want to be selling these goods now? They are telling us that the prices will change. So now, somebody that does not understand what is going on now, if maybe now you come to a shop today to buy, maybe now you come tomorrow now and he tells you that, she tells you that no, it's no longer that price. You say, but what is yesterday? No, it's not the problem of these people selling, it's not the problem. I'm not saying they cannot add their own problem to it, because our Nigerian mentality of always taking advantage of every situation and not respecting other people's emotions and not respecting everybody just want to get quick syndrome. Get quick syndrome affects it, but it's not really the problem. The real problem is that these manufacturers that are manufacturing these goods, they are not finding it easy.
Cost of production.
Cost of production, 1,250 naira for diesel. That's the least you can get anywhere. 1,250 naira. What do you want to produce with it? Some of these people, they are using their very big generators are using a drum of diesel per hour.
Per hour?
Yes, there are generators that use up to that per hour. They consume up to 100 liters, 50 liters of diesel. What do you want to produce with it? Understand? Now, as we are talking now, there is fuel scarcity. As we are talking now, there's fuel scarcity. So it means that before even this Abuja now, I'm not talking about even the villages. Because if we are going through what we are going through for fuel in Abuja, imagine what people in the villages will be going through. At the seat of power, if we are going through this for fuel, imagine what people in the villages will be going through. So now, if they now say that, so we should accommodate the loss. So the fuel they bought now, let's say last week, they bought it, let's say 700 naira per liter. Today now they are saying 800 per 900 per liter, and they have to produce. So we will bear that loss. So if by the end of today's working day now they adjust their prices now, somebody will start crying foul. Many people just cry. They just cry because they don't understand the way the system works. We don't need to be addressing effects. We need to get to the cause of this matter. Which the costs are the things that we've mentioned. The cost of power, the cost of transportation, the exchange rate, the interest rate. We know that when we are running businesses, all these big businesses run mostly on other people's money, which is bank loan. Interest rate is skyrocketing. Even the richest man in Africa, Alhaji Aliko Dangote was saying it last week. Even a man as rich as that, even if he's coming up that there is nothing anybody can produce in Nigeria with the current interest rate of above 30%, that government must do something. If people at that level can be feeling the heat, so how much all these small businesses? Okay. So.
Okay, Mr. Olakpade, as we speak, some concerned Nigerians are still expressing worry on the state of our agriculture and food security, which has led to the high prices of goods and services as we are speaking. And last week, the president inaugurated this program that we just mentioned. Some plans, rolling out some plans to mitigate the economy and to make the economy work better than what we are having today. So what is your opinion on this?
I'm still studying the stabilizer policy that was rolled out on last Thursday. I'm still trying to get the details beyond the figures. I'm still trying, but let me just tell you that all these problems, we need to have an holistic approach to it. Now, because of exchange rate, because of transportation, because of interest rate, now, seedlings, farm inputs are now very expensive. Have you priced cutlass recently? Have you had any reason to price cutlass recently?
Cutlass?
Cutlass, yes. Ordinary cutlass. No. Go and check the price of ordinary cutlass.
Maybe knife, I will know.
No, ordinary cutlass. Not to talk about seedlings. Everything we're talking about is also affecting what is affecting the agriculture sector. What happens to farm extension programs? Does the federal government have a farm extension program?
All things being equal, the government has.
Okay, now the government has, okay, in this Abuja, for example, Kuje is the food basket. Let's say Kuje, let's say Kwali, Abi, Abaji side. They are the food basket of Abuja, Abi. Kuje, Kwali, those are where they farm in Abuja. Those are the satellite places where farm is done.
Anyway.
Okay, let's say Buhari also. Buhari, after law school, all those places. Now, when you finish this program, you need to go and conduct your survey. Maybe the same farm extension workers in those places. How far the government has helped them to ease their cost of production, to make their work easier. You can go to all those places. Understand? If you get fuel, that's if you get fuel to be able to go to those places. You need to call. Government is not doing enough. The people, when government even say that they've brought some intervention policies, the people that are taking advantage of it are the paper farmers.
Okay, because of our time now, what do you when you say government is not doing too well, what would you recommend as measures?
That's what I'm saying.
Measures
for agriculture and the economy.
In
which
order
of
to
the
come
two?
out of this.
Is it for the agriculture or for the economy?
The agriculture, the MSMEs, and the general economy.
For the economy, this one is even very for the economy will affect even the agriculture is that interest rate.
Okay.
There's nothing everybody can produce with this current interest rate.
So the government should stem down.
Government should look for a way. Either government look for a way to bring the inflation so that interest can come down, or government make sure there are interventions, because let's be truthful, government has brought some interventions, but these interventions are not getting to the right people. Government should bring out a policy, they should make a monitoring policy so that all these interventions can get to the real people who needs to get all these things. So if government addresses all these things, it is agricultural extension workers, provide tractors for these people, give them free fertilizer, give them subsidized fertilizers, farm input, understand, make sure that they have what they need to do it. And also, the ones that is going to be produced in SSEs, make sure that government buys from them through agricultural board. So make sure they buy from them. So if government can do all these things, it's going to make sure that at least we bring down the cost of and security is key. If government can also make sure that security-wise, government make sure that there's security on this farm. They should make sure that all these we have military, we have all this, give them, let them come out with a policy to secure the farms and the farmers. Also, I believe, this also will help us to be able to bring down the cost of food and other things.
All right. Thank you so much for all the measures that you have brought forward. You say that governments should ensure that the interventions will get to the right people so that the economy can improve. Meanwhile, there's a breaking news here, and a man has scaled a broadcast mast on Katampe Hill in Abuja ASO Radio threatens to jump, demands fuel subsidy restoration and end to insecurity. So unfortunate. And with these measures, we have come to the end of today's edition of your regular program, Business and Economy. My guest has been an economic analyst, Mr. Abraham Olakpade. Mr. Olakpade, I want to thank you for always honoring our invitation to be on the program.
It's a pleasure to always be here.
All right, and to you out there, our esteemed audience, we want to thank you sincerely for investing part of your time to be with us always on the program. Stay with us for more of our programming. I am ILE EMEJE.